the pride of Dallas, Georgia, which is Scout from Scouts and the Saints. Scout and the Saints. I said it wrong. Scout and the Saints.
That's okay.
How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you? The pride of Dallas. I like that.
Yeah, we're going to get that on the sign, the Welcome to Dallas, Georgia sign. It's going to just have a picture of you and your husband, right?
I need to run for mayor or something like that.
And when the music career's done, you've gotten all the hits, you've seen everywhere. Run for Dallas, Georgia mayor. They will come back to this video. Do you know how much money I will make when all the news agencies pull this video 20, 30 years down the road?
That's right. Hopefully we both make a lot of money.
There we go. All right, there we go. So for those who don't know, give us this elevator pitch. Who are Scouts and the Saints?
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here, and thank you for your time. Scout and the Saints. I'm Scout, and there's two Saints. We're a three-piece band out of Dallas, Georgia, and we're a Christian Southern rock band. So we're a little bit of the heavier side of Christian music, not so much CCM, but I guess you can consider us a part of all of that. But we like to rock out. I sing and play the bass. My husband, Alec, he plays the drums. And Reverend Ryan Houston is our guitar player, and he just rocks out those electrics. So we just recently released an EP called Oh Lord, and we're super thrilled about that. We've just been playing a lot of shows and just trying to make it happen. We started kind of at the beginning of this year. We technically started as a band in college, but long story short, we all graduated and went to different states, and so we were far apart, so we thought that the band was kind of over. And so now we have recently all moved back to Dallas, Georgia, or to Dallas for the first time. And so now we're just trying to make it happen, play music.
What college did you go to?
Liberty University. It's where we all met. And Alec and I were on a worship team there. That's how we met. And then we call him Reverend. He's not really a reverend. That's just his nickname. But we met him. It's kind of a funny story, actually. We were actually recording stuff for my solo project at the time before Scout and the Saints existed. And Alec and I were talking about kind of forming a band. And we were in the studio, and we hear this like banging on the door late at night. And our producer at the time was like, "Who's that?" We're like, "Oh my gosh, who's trying to get into the studio? It's locked. Like, you can't get in here." So we go, and he's standing there, Rev, and he's dripping sweat. He had been on a run, which it was like miles and miles off campus. And we're like, "Who are you and what are you doing here?" He was like, "I ran here. I'm friends with your producer," which he confirmed. He was like, "I just have to go to the bathroom so bad. So can I please come in here?" We're like, "Yeah, I guess." So he came in there, and then our producer was like, "Rev is a killer guitar player. So you guys should have him track something for you sometime." And we're like, no time like the present. Let's hear what he's got. So we're like, "Hey, do you want to just throw something down?" And he's like, "Sure." And he just melted our faces off with a guitar solo. That was so good. And so Alec and I looked at each other and we were like, "Do you want to be in a band?" And Rev was like, "Oh, sure." And the rest is history. It was like magic or something when we all came together.
Who knew needing to use the bathroom could change your career?
Exactly. And that's a very on-brand Saints thing, so we'll take it.
So where are the rest of the guys? You're from the Atlanta area?
Yes, born and raised. Alec, my husband, our drummer, he is from California, actually, Modesto.
Okay.
And Reverend is from Chicago. So we've got an interesting, sides of music that all come together to kind of make this cool rock sound.
So how did you get a guy from Chicago to move to Dallas, Georgia?
Great question. So when we met in college, that's in Virginia. And so he loved that area. He started working for the school actually after we graduated. So he was only about 8 hours away from us instead of 16 or however far away Chicago is. And so we would come back and forth a lot to go see my best friend. She also lives there, and a lot of our mentors and people. So we would go back and forth. So we'd see each other every once in a while. But when 2 years had passed, the Lord kind of started impressing on my heart, "Hey, you should start Scouting the Saints again." And so I was like, I had so much fun doing this. This was my dream, and it kind of just never happened. I want to give it another go. And before, we were kind of a mainstream band. We always have been believers. We love Jesus, and our music has always been about Jesus in some way, but we haven't outrightly said the name Jesus, if that makes sense. And so in the second kind of phase so far in our new EP, we're much more vocal about our faith. And so back to your question, when we were two years had passed and we were working on music for Oh Lord, the EP, and we got this gig. It was a 4-hour bar gig, and I was like, we can't do a 4-hour bar gig without a guitarist.
Right.
And I my guitarist, who I love, is 8 hours away. So I just hit him up. I was like, there's no way you're going to say yes to this, but like, would you even just consider driving down? It's in like 3 days. Can you learn 4 hours of music? It's more of a courtesy thing, as you are my guitarist, I always want you. And he said, I'll be there. So he drove down, stayed at our house, played the show, and it was so much fun that we all kind of were like, why did we ever stop this? And so that kind of started, we got more shows, and he kept driving down. And so finally he was like, I can't keep driving these 8 hours back and forth, so I'm just going to move down here. So I think it was about 6 months ago that he moved for real to Dallas.
To Dallas,
so
Georgia.
We're thrilled to have him. That's right.
Well, I mean, the band's got to be doing something. The Lord's got to be working some awesome things to get somebody from Chicago to move to Dallas, Georgia.
We're eternally grateful.
Because I'm from Chicago, and that's where I'm from. And when you tell people, like, oh, I go to Alabama, they just think it's like the Beverly Hillbillies, or when you tell them you're going to Georgia. So you talked about when the band first started, you weren't an overtly Christian band.
Right, that's right.
What changed? What caused the change to happen?
Yeah, so I think it was about maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago now, which is crazy. Time flies. It doesn't feel that long. But it was about 2 years ago that I really was. So my husband and I, a little backstory, we play for an artist named Mac Powell. That's my dad. And we play for some other Christian music artists.
Just a little no-name artist right there that nobody knows. But
Right. All credit to my dad. But so we have been in the industry for 3 years now. And so we have loved, I play bass for my dad, and Alec plays drums, and a couple other artists. And so when that was all happening, I was like, this is great. And like, I've learned so much from the road. I love being on the road. I love being on tour. Performing live is my favorite thing in the world. And so I just kind of was like, I think I could do this. And not in like a cocky way, but like as in a, like, I have the drive to do this. And like, I know enough people in this industry that maybe I have connections that not everybody has. And I would be kind of dumb to not try to make my dream work, you know, and if I fail, I fail. But so I just kind of felt a little bit like the Holy Spirit was just impressing on my heart, like, let's try this again. And then when I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Like, and that's kind of scary because you're just like throwing yourself out there and you're like, maybe this is making me look dumb, and maybe it is, and that's fine. I'm doing my best. So I just was like, okay, Lord, yes, I'll try. And then the Holy Spirit kind of dropped on me, and I want to do Christian music. And that was very shocking to me because I feel my whole life that I've been very called to the lost people a little bit more than just ministering to the church.
Right.
And so I've had this like different kind of conviction. And so it's funny that I did not see that coming. I thought, I was like, oh, we're going to go into the mainstream market. This is going to be so great. And the Holy Spirit was just like, no, I want you to sing about me and try. And I was like, okay, I'm a little uncomfortable. Like I've led worship before, but this is like a totally different thing. And so I started just trying to write some music. And I showed it to my dad, and he was like, this is actually really good, so you should try. So I was like, okay. So with his help of like kind of producing and shaping things, we started kind of just doing that. And so here we are. Yeah.
I have so many questions from what you just said. Let's talk about the band. You guys are kind of a super group. You guys played with, I mean, I did my research on Google, and I did a deep dive. We got Tasha Layton, we have Cochran, and so how do you guys focus on being on this band when you're out with your dad on the road, and you guys are like the Christian super group right now?
That's sweet. I don't know about all that, but we do have a lot of fun. And
I can say it.
I'll take it. Thank you. It is a lot of fun. And the good thing is, like, we really only tour in the spring and the fall. And then also Christmas, but we're not doing a Christmas tour this year just because we wanted to be home for Christmas. So it kind of worked out. So it's like during the summer, we do a lot of fly dates or like festivals and stuff like that, but it's never really a tour.
Right.
So in the summer, we have like all this downtime of, well, what are we going to do now? We don't want to like, not make music. So that kind of has given us a lot of time, thankfully, to work on Saints stuff, Scout and Saints. And then also just like when we are on the road, thankfully, the boys are so great at recording and engineering and all this stuff. So really, we can pretty much do everything on our own. We send things off to get mixed and mastered just because, as an artist, you don't really want to do that on your own. You want a different perspective. But other than that, we can really do everything on our own. So we're very grateful for that. So I can come up with an idea, or I can record on my own and send it to Rev, and he can put it in, Logic or whatever we're using and make it all work. So we're very grateful for things like FaceTime or Zoom or whatever, where we can kind of communicate and stay up to date on what's happening. And thankfully, also, Alec and I are always together. So even though Rev's not playing in those bands necessarily, sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. It's very easy, especially now that he lives in Dallas, that we're 15 minutes away from each other.
Right.
So we're always constantly back and forth, and he has a home studio. So thankfully, that allows us a lot of time. Now, when it comes to scheduling shows, that's a little bit harder. But you know what? My dad has been so kind and said basically like, hey, I always want you guys, but I know this is your dream, and like I want this for you. And so whenever it's time, like I totally understand. And if I had it my way, Scout and the Saints would just open for my dad the rest of our lives when we play as his band.
Why haven't we talked to Dad about that? Why haven't we like
there's discussions. We need a little bit more time, maybe.
I mean, under the Christmas tree, a Scout and Saints shirt wrapped in a gift. That's right. You could do that. There you go.
Yes. So we make it work. We do our best.
So let's talk about your dad. How have you played bass long? Like, how did you get started playing bass?
I have not played bass long. So I've played. So it's kind of a funny story. So in high school, I was in a band, and I was sang for that band, and it turned out to where our bassist wasn't really working with the band, and so they were like, we need a bassist, and nobody else at the school we really jived with in a band, so they were like, hey, can you just pick it up? And I was like, oh, I'll do my best, yeah, whatever. So I don't even really count that because I barely played bass at all. I kind of just played the one the whole time and just made it work, which didn't sound great, but whatever. So then fast forward to college, I played a little bit here and there at churches and stuff, but I really never considered myself a bassist at all. And then we were about to graduate, and Alec and I both worked jobs at the university. And then we realized, we were like, we kind of want to move back to Georgia, and we're engaged. We're about to kind of start the next phase of our life. So what should we do? And so my dad's band was kind of changing at the time. And so I just shot my shot, and I called him and was like, listen, please say no if you want, but what are the odds? Like, what's the chances that you would just give Alec and I a chance? He's a great drummer. He's always played his whole life. He was on a full ride scholarship to play drums. Okay. So he's great. There's no question. But I was like, I will just work really hard. And like my work ethic and like, I'm going to do my best. So can you just give me a chance? And he was literally like, when can you start? And I was like, oh, what? I did not think you were going to say yes. So now I've got to learn bass. So it was so stressful. But he was so kind to just give us a shot. And so I just started practicing my butt off, and I'm still just trying to learn everything I can. Anytime we're on tour with other bassists, I'm like, what can you teach me? Can I have a lesson? Or can you teach me about your pedal board? So I've really only played for 3 years. But, and another thing with that, it was so crazy because my first show playing bass with my dad was in Iowa. I think it was Iowa. And I was so nervous because it was like this 45-minute set. I was like, this is my first time really playing bass in front of anyone ever. The stakes feel so high. And so my dad was like, you know what? This is Iowa. We've been driving for hours and hours on end. We haven't seen any houses. It's all cornfields in this area. He was like, how big can this show really be? Like, don't worry about it. It's okay. Like, this is your first time. It's going to be probably 200 people. We pull up and it's 20,000 people at this show. And I think it's still the most amount of people I've played in front of at one time. But it was so shocking. And so I started shaking. I'm like, I'm freaking out. This is not going to be good. And we had this little trailer that was our green room. And so I ran into the bathroom in the trailer, and I literally got on my hands and my knees, and I was like, Lord, you have to help me. I'm begging you to give me some kind of supernatural peace, or like help my hands to just do the right thing. I kind of blacked out on stage, but you know what? It was so much fun, and the crowd really liked it. We had fun, and it was such a surreal moment to be like, there's so many people looking at me. But, it wasn't my best show. It wasn't my worst show. So what more, right. It was great. It was fine. I'll take it.
So a couple of months back, you played Nashville at the end.
Yes.
At the end.
Yes,
which,
that's right.
If you're not in Nashville, the end is not really like the cleanest venue in America. I've seen a lot of my friends who played in punk bands play there. And my 12-year-old daughter comes to me one day and she goes, Dad, where is the end? And I thought it was like a philosophical question, like the end of time.
Yes.
I said, what are you talking about? She goes, where do you go see concerts at the end? And I was like, well, it's in downtown Nashville on Elliston Street. Random. Why? And she goes, I want to go see a band there. And I was like,
oh,
what kind of band are you seeing that wants?
What are you listening to?
I mean, and she's like, well, they're called Scouts and the Saints. And I was like, okay, huh? And she's like, it's Mac Powell's daughter she goes, Mac Powell from I Love Jesus and the whole thing. And I was like, I got to check this whole thing. Like, what is going on? But she couldn't get into
You're
the
like,
show.
this cannot be real.
It's like, how is Mac Powell's daughter in Nashville playing at the end of all places in a Christian band? And I listened to your music because I'm a good father, y'all. And I sometimes
had to check it out.
And I was like, because she's really big right now into well, she loves Skillet for whatever reason. We love Skillet. We're all
of course.
We're all into the rock and blowing stuff up. And you guys,
I love it.
You guys are rock, but you guys are like this, like when the Black Crowes were good. And they were gritty, okay?
Wow.
Like that's what it's like this dirty rock and roll. And I know you can't advertise in Christian music as like we're dirty rock and roll, but that's really what you guys are. It's like it's this dirty, gritty rock. And so growing up you're in the South, so there's that. But Third Day kind of always touched on that, but I think that probably the industry wouldn't allow them to happen. So growing up, was that kind of music what you were listening to? Were you into like the Black Crowes and stuff like that?
Absolutely. I love that you said the Black Crowes too, because so where I live in Dallas, Georgia, it's called Paulding County. We have counties in Georgia. And the Black Crowes are actually from Cobb County, where I grew up, born and raised in that county. Okay. And they were actually called the Cobb County Crows before they became the Black Crowes.
Oh, right on.
So that's funny that you say that. I appreciate that. That's the Georgia sound right there. But yeah, I grew up listening to them, loved them so much. We actually got to go something fun when we're on the road. If we're on like a big tour, like Hits Deep or something, it's really fun for us because usually we have one of the opening slots with my dad. And so then we joke and say, can we go see a real concert now? Like, quote unquote, real concert. And so then we try to go see like a rock and roll band that we love. And so my dad actually surprised us with tickets one night a couple months ago to go see the Black Crowes. And it was in a theater, which never happens. And we were on like the 12th row. He pulled some strings to get us some like crazy tickets. And we had the time of our lives. It was amazing. But then, like Led Zeppelin is my favorite band of all time.
Okay.
The Black Keys I love. We love them. We all, it's funny because being from different parts of the country, Alec grew up really only listening to Christian music, and Caleb in California, he grew up with Baptist preacher parents. Right. And so that he really only listened to Christian music. And so like Third Day and Toby Mac were his favorite, which is funny now. He's playing for these people. So that was really his upbringing. And then I was in the nitty gritty rock and roll, like you said. And then it's funny because Rev was kind of like the Midwest emo, but with a lot of like church upbringing as well.
Right.
So when we all come together, it's so strange and funny to me that we like have it in our soul to like have this nitty gritty rock and roll, because it's just what we all, when we play together, it makes sense. We love it. But yeah, those are some of my favorite bands. And like Aretha Franklin, Janis Joplin, I mean, like those are absolutely my favorite vocalists. Or Susan Tedeschi, like my dream would be to sound like her when I'm her age. Like she's so great. Tedeschi Trucks Band. But yeah, that's our favorite kind of stuff.
Well, and also I don't think they're close to you, but they're in the Atlanta area. I guess they can kind of be in the genre. Was Widespread Panic. Did you, you ever got into Widespread?
Yep.
Years ago, I went to go see them in Louisville. Cool. I don't know why somebody took me to the concert.
Oh, nice.
And I don't really know about the whole jam. I mean, I knew like hippies, jam band, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I couldn't believe how many people were smoking inside like the whole.
Oh yeah.
I was like, what is going on here? And it was one of the best shows I saw. And I wasn't smoking, y'all, but it was one of the best shows I've ever saw, musicianship wise. And then the same thing happened when I saw the Black Crowes. I've seen the Black Crowes like 2 or 3 times. One of them was right before they broke up this last time, like 8 years ago, where you could feel the tension on the stage. Yeah. Not a great show, but they survived. Wild. But what is your favorite Black Crowes album?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, this is like a cop-out. I love all of them. Yeah. But one that I've done War Paint is probably my favorite.
Okay.
And I have a really cool vinyl that's like it's limited edition, like blue one. So that one's like always turning on my table. But I love that one. But the new one, it actually says a bad word, so I can't say the name of it.
Just the new Black Crowes album.
the happiness Black Crowes one. I can't like tell people to listen to it, but there's a lot of really, really good rock songs on
Okay.
that. So we like literally we're super inspired by it actually to bring some of those riffs in different ways. So yeah.
Have you got okay? And by the way, they went to the Black Crowes concert after a Mac Powell show, but Mac Powell's a good Christian.
Yes.
K-Love, he would never go to a Black Crowes concert. There you go.
He would never.
Never.
He would never.
Never. Have you gotten any kind of like the people who? And I was shocked with how open you were about who your dad was when I was getting ready for this interview. Because a lot of times it's like you want to be known for who you are.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's singing background vocals on the new EP, which we'll get to the new EP in a moment. But have you had any kind of like people are expecting more like they find out that who your dad is, they listen to Scout and the Saints, and then they're expecting like God of Wonder, but they're really getting like Amorca from the Black Crowes.
Yeah,
like
which I love Amorca.
That's a great album.
Yeah.
Have you ran into that where people are kind of confused a little bit about the genre?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for the most part, I mean, not that no one's really come up to me and been like, "You're a sinner. You shouldn't be doing music like this." Yeah. So that's
it's
good.
coming.
It's coming.
Shout out to
fine,
Westboro.
you know.
But anyways.
Oh man. So I think that people are often kind of shocked, but I think I get this a lot where people are like, "I had no idea you were going to sound like that."
Right.
And I like that. I think it's a compliment. Maybe they don't mean it as a compliment, but I like kind of the shock factor of like, you don't really expect us three bozos to sound the way that we do.
Absolutely.
So I like that. But even to touch on the point with like my dad, that's been a constant struggle for me my whole life, to be honest. Like I've always been so proud of who my dad is, and like I've loved having the road life, and like I think it's so unique and fun. But I always wanted to be my own person, like you said. So that was always a struggle for me of like, I don't want anybody to know who my dad is because I want to know like I did this on my own. And that was a recent conviction 2 years ago. I felt like the Holy Spirit was like, Scout. Like I felt like he had to sit me down and be like, Scout, I've put you in this position with this father at this time and this mother at this time and these connections so that you can not abuse these like in any way, but like help leverage yourself and be in a position with a like kind of just a step above what most people get to be at ground level. Does that make sense? So for me, I was kind of like a little bit convicted that like, you're right, Lord, you put me in this position and I don't want to like not use the gifts you've given me. So I've tried to figure out what the balance is of like using my dad on music and stuff. Like he's helped produce a couple things and helps me write because I just trust him wholeheartedly with everything music wise. But then also not like, you know, abusing that power and making, I don't know. It's hard to find that balance, but I'm trying my best to figure that out. But even having him on a song with us was like a big deal because we did a joint kind of release, a feature. And so the song I think is better off for it because it's just fun that we wrote it together and get to sing it as a dad and daughter. But at the same time, it's like, you know, we also have our own version of it that he's not on. So, you know, trying to find the balance.
So you guys are currently right now making a new EP. I saw because I'm like a great Instagram stalker. So
I love it.
When is it coming out? How many songs? We know we got Daddy Mac on it. Oh, we can. Oh, Daddy Mac. Do you ever call him Daddy Mac? You can have that one.
There you go. A lot of people.
A lot of people, I'm sure, do. That's not original, but so talk about the new EP. When are we going to have something to hear?
Yeah, so we just started working on it, I think 3 days ago. So this is day 4. The boys are actually in the studio right now working on some vocal stuff, like tweaking for last night. What you're talking about is we had a choir for a song. It's called Dancing on My Grave. That's the song we did it for. And so this is going to be a 5-song EP, I think, as of right now. We actually kind of worked out everything for next year and are working on when we're going to start the release schedule. But it should start, hopefully, if everything goes well, in January. Okay. And you should have some new music soon. So we're super pumped and stoked about that. We actually have enough songs to release 2 EPs next year. So we're trying to decide how that's all going to go. So we're really excited. We didn't realize we had that many songs. You know, we're always just writing, or what do you think about this idea or this demo or whatever. And so we kind of just wrote down on a whiteboard. It's literally right over there. I'm looking at it. But in my house, there's a whiteboard with all of our information of songs and checked off, like, do we have bass done for this or drums done for this? So we're hoping to hopefully get it done, you know, in time for January to start releasing some singles.
And will that be independently released?
Yes, so we're completely indie. I mean, we're signed with JRA Booking, which is great. So they're helping a booking agency to get more shows and things like that, which we're super stoked. There's some big news for us for next year for some shows and things that we're going to start posting about soon that we get to do, which we're so excited about. And then on our own, we're self-producing this record or this EP. We're releasing it completely indie. Everything we've done has been completely independent. So we're pretty proud about that and grateful that we get to do it together. And, you know, record labels are super cool. We've been holding some meetings with some people and are interested in, you know, continuing to pursue that. However, at the same time, it's been really great to be indie and just we kind of get to be a rock band that calls all of our own shots.
Do what you
know,
want
that's
when
not
you
a bad
want it.
thing.
Yep.
That's right.
So shout out to Jeff Roberts. I've known those guys over there, Mikey
Yes.
and Matthew, for a long time. How did that come about? Because you're a new band starting off. You don't have a label. Usually it's the label that's pushing you guys to get a booking agent out of the beginning. And how did that come about? You know, I mean, you don't have to give me deal terms or anything, but just for any up and coming artist, how did that happen? Because they're big time.
They are. I mean, we're so grateful. It all glory to God for that, for real. And that's not a Jesus juke. That's like a for real. Like that could not have happened without the Holy Spirit kind of engineering that whole situation. Basically, there is a record label called Centricity Music that's in Nashville, and so they have a lot of like Laura Daigle was their big find, and now they have like a lot of other amazing artists. But they hold this, I think it's every 2 to 4 years, I can't remember, but they have this amazing indie retreat that they hold. And so for listeners, if you don't know, a lot of people think indie means like a certain genre. Indie really means like independent. So like a lot of us think of a certain sound, but it really just means you're not signed to a label. So they have this indie retreat where it's so cool. It's such a huge blessing where they bring in all these artists and bands from all over the US together just to songwrite and learn more about the industry, learn more about Centricity. And in no way is it, they're very clear. They're like, this is not us asking to sign. We are not asked. They said we might consider it after. We'll see where we're at. But really, it's just because they want to help young artists learn more about the industry and help, you know, really hone in their sound. So it's a big blessing, but they also bring in all of these writers from Nashville as well. And so they fly us all out to Washington State, and we're there for a week. It feels literally like summer camp. It's so amazing. And you're just having fun the whole time. They feed you. You get to go on hikes. They have a golf course. It's like nothing you've ever seen. And so, you know, it's just them obeying the Lord and just kind of following his lead on how to bless people. I've never seen something like that before. And so when we were at this retreat, there was one day where, you know, they would talk about publicity in this session, and then you talk about songwriting in this session. And then there was a booking session, and Joe Piver, who's one of the agents at JRA, he was there giving kind of the spiel of this is what a tour means, or this is what, you know, like a one-off or a flight aid means, and like this is how you can get that, and this is what a rider is. So he was teaching us all about that kind of stuff, and we crossed paths for like literally 30 seconds, and just we got introduced by a mutual friend, and I got to say like, oh, we have a band called Scout and Saints, thank you so much for being here. And he was very kind also in his whole spiel. He was like, here's my email, if y'all ever need help about anything, just like reach out. And so I reached out after and was just like, hey, I have a question about how to make a writer template, like, which is something that you submit in order to make sure like you have everything you need for a show. So I was like, what's a good template? And he was so kind. We were going back and forth, and then he was like, hey, one of my agents here, Becca, sorry, this is kind of a long story.
No, you're fine.
But her name's Becca Cox, and she's amazing. So she actually also went to Liberty, and I had met her then, and we had played. She's actually a great drummer, so shout out Becca. So we were like this girl band for something, and I was playing bass, she was playing drums, and we had really never hung out besides that, but I really liked her. And so come to find out, she was working for JRA, and I had actually reached out to her about, I don't know, I guess in January. And I said, hey, like, you're in no way my agent, so, like, no pressure. But if you ever hear of something and, you know, you need a Christian rock band, please just let me know. And she actually found us some stuff and was pitching us for things and was like, yeah, of course, like, I'll do that. And just out of the kindness of her heart, kind of found us some stuff. And so I was like, wow, she's really a great agent. She's not even my agent. She's helping me. And so then come to find out, Joe Piver and Becca Cox are both at JRA. And so they were like, hey, can we just take you guys out to dinner? We'd love to hang out. We were like, yes, we would love that. And so we genuinely thought we were just hanging out, like getting to know each other.
Right.
And we're at this restaurant in Nashville. And and then we had a show the next day, but we were there, and they at the dinner table at the end of the night, we like had so much fun, and they were just like, we would sign you right now if you guys were interested. And we were like, what? We did not expect that at all. And like, Jerry is a pretty big deal in the Christian music industry, and so we were like, what do you mean? Like, they have people like We the Kingdom, Zach Williams, and like all these like really big names that I think our sound kind of goes a little bit more with, maybe like more than worship stuff.
Right.
And so I was like, this is a big deal. And so we're like, we'll pray about it and talk about it. So we took like, I think a week to kind of just pray. And I reached out to everybody that I know who is signed with Jerry and was like, what was your experience? Do you like them? Like, are they good people? How is this working? And they all, not one person told us not to sign. Everyone was like, their team is amazing. They will fight for you. They're so great. And we already had such a great relationship just from that one dinner. So I was like, okay, well, let's do it. So we signed, and it was a big deal for us because it's the first people in the industry who really sought us out and were interested in us, not because of my dad, if that makes sense. So it like felt really good to us that we were like, oh, we did this. Like, to go back to what we were talking about earlier, I was like, this is, I mean, maybe he pulled strings behind the scenes that I don't know about. And if that happened, I don't want to know. I'm happy thinking that I did it myself.
Absolutely.
So. Yeah.
I mean, I just think it's great that you even went out to the Centricity camp knowing that, you know, I mean, your dad, I don't know if he's in the Gospel Music Hall of Fame yet, but he will definitely be there. And a lot of times, a lot of people would just be like, I don't need to go to that crap. Like, I'm good. Like, you know, and you guys went and you took the meetings and you did the stuff that people who don't have a dad who's going to be in the Hall of Fame would do. And it worked out for you guys, you know? Yeah,
it really did. Yeah, we're so grateful just to have, you know, we prayed at the beginning of the year. We were like, Lord, just open doors that no man can close and close doors that no man can open. And through that, help us just to have like clear direction of what doors to walk through, and help us to never feel confused about should we sign with these people or not. Just like help it to be just so straightforward. And, you know, it's not always like that, but I feel like this year he's really just been so kind to make it that way for us and just be like, I've got your back. Like, because, you know, being in this industry every day, you know, as a starting out indie rock band, you're like, this is so much work. You got to think about the social media stuff, your booking shows. Thankfully, JRA can help us now. But you're still reaching out to people trying to get shows. That never stops. And you're trying to record music, and you're trying to write, and you're trying to build a brand, and all these things. It's like starting a small business. So, you know, every day is just kind of like, you got to choose that this is what you want to do. Otherwise, it can be really hard. And so I feel like every time we question and they're like, Lord, do you want us to keep doing this? Is this even right? I feel like he just gives us some kind of gift that day, whether it just be somebody commenting on our posts, like encouraging us that they like the song, or if we get another show booked, like every time we question it, the Lord just continues to bless us and show us that it's like what he wants us to do, at least for this time. So,
well, I mean,
shout out God.
Shout out to God. You're great. No, I mean, it's a surrendering thing. You're just like, God, if you want to take it away from me, you can. And there is, I think, a sense of honor and blessing that comes on that when you will just walk away from the dream if you have to, because the Lord is telling you to. Lastly, I have for you, since we're talking about the Lord, who is Jesus to you? I mean, I know you play bass with a song that says, I love Jesus.
Yes.
But who is Jesus to you?
I do love Jesus. I feel like so cliche saying it, but I really do feel like he's like my best friend.
Right.
I really love Jesus. You know, I love the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, all of it. But yeah, I accepted Jesus into my heart when I was 6 years old. And at my 7th birthday party, I got baptized.
At your birthday party.
I've never met anybody else that has done that. And my parents were like, are you sure you want to do that? It was completely my decision. I wanted to do it. And I was like, no, I want everyone that I love, like, they're all going to be there. I want them to all see it. And we literally had this tiny little kiddie pool, like, that we got from Walmart. We didn't have a pool or anything to get baptized in. So, I mean, we believe in dunking. Right. But I kind of got more like, oh, here's the water. They had to kind of pour some on me because it was a kiddie pool. But that was, you know, when my relationship started with the Lord. And I really do believe, like, I had a full conviction of, like, I love Jesus and I'm following him. And I don't think it's because my parents told me. It's, like, because I love Jesus. And so from a very young age, that's how I felt. And then, you know, I've had my ups and downs my whole life. Who hasn't? He doesn't have some kind of testimony. But, you know, there's times when I've been closer to him and a lot further away from him. But I've always believed in God. I've always believed in Jesus. And I think I'm at a very good spot now. And I love him. And I'm at a spot where it's like, complete dependence on him,
Right.
which is really freaky a lot of the time and frustrating. But because I'm in complete dependence, there's also like a huge load off where I'm like, Lord, you have to make this work. Like, not even just with music, like, Lord, you gotta help me pay my rent
Right.
this week. You know, like, so it's just like I'm in complete total surrender and dependence. Like, Lord, you're gonna have to make this work. Please continue to do so. And He keeps blessing me and my family. So I'm so grateful, and I love Him so much. And I just want to tell everybody about Him. And that's why, like, talking about the end, our show that we had there, it's so fun. Like, that is my favorite thing to do. I love playing in churches. We'll play any shows, what we say. We'll do anything. We love just playing music. But I love being in places like that where Christian music isn't necessarily always there,
Right.
and it can reach people who are like, oh, well, that was a great Led Zeppelin cover. I really like that band. And then the next song is like my testimony song about Jesus.
Right.
And so it's like, I think that's what we love to do, is like show people like He'll meet you where you are. And I love singing and prophesying and testifying and praying in those spaces, and like trying to also with like our friends and family who are in the crowd, like reclaiming that ground to just be like, Lord, like, have your way here too. Like,
Right.
this is where we need you the most, not just the end, but you know
Yeah,
what I
of
mean?
course.
Like places like that where it's like, you know, so that's our dream too, is just to play in places that Christian music isn't always heard. So that's why we like doing the rock thing, is because I feel like it's kind of a good like bridge between the gap of the two for us.
Well, and there ain't a lot of rock bands anymore these days. Let's just be real. You know, a lot of
I know, we need more.
new up and coming rock bands. So, all right. Well,
Yes.
when you get an EP out, or we got a deluxe edition, or you run for mayor
Yeah.
of Dallas,
Or if I run for mayor. Yes.
please, you'll come back. You'll come back, and we'll do this, and we'll
I would love to.
have a great time. Scout Butler from
Awesome.
Scout and the Saints, thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.